I made a mistake. I said la mano derecho instead of la mano derecha. After all these years, after how many times of them telling me it's la mano, femenino,
La mano derecha.
I'm never speaking again. I'm moving to the mountains and living with goats. Mistakes can be so annoying, and it doesn't matter how many times you've been corrected, how many books you've read, how many exercises you've done, they just keep popping up again and again. You're speaking quickly, you're trying to think of ideas instead of grammar rules, so you don't have the time to access that part of your brain where that grammar chart was sitting, and boom, that same mistake again. Same stupid mistake. It's like saying, yo realizo que, when in reality you're trying to say, me doy cuenta, or just carelessly dropping la problema in the middle of the sentence again, even though you've been told a bazillion times that when a word ends with ma, it's probably masculine. El tema, el problema, el teorema. But there you go again. Tengo una gran problema. And it just won't stop happening, even to people whose Spanish is amazing. Even in places like Spain, where people are usually super chill when you make a mistake, where they won't shame you, they probably won't even correct you, especially not in front of others. Most of the time, they'll say something like, wow, your Spanish is really good, even if you're still speaking at a pretty basic level. But somehow, we still keep feeling the pressure. And genuinely, how did we get here? Why? Well, I think it's that mindset, that culture of perfectionism that we all grew up amongst. And it doesn't matter where you come from. The United States, Spain, a post-Soviet Union country like me, somewhere in Latin America, somewhere in Asia, I feel like we're all in the same boat and we all feel the same about this stuff. And I honestly think it all stems from school. You make one mistake, -1 point. One mistake. You're no longer perfect. You're no longer the best. Shame on you. How could you? You use a wrong tense, -2 points. That's it. You're finished. Hand in your little trophy and join the peasants. And your grade goes from A to B. You're no longer a straight A student just because you forgot to make the adjective agree with the noun last week. That's unfortunately how so many of us are trained. One mistake equals failure. And that mindset sucks. But it also sticks, and it trickles down into our adulthood, our work, our relationships, and hey, you're expected to be perfect everywhere. And if you aren't, well, you don't have the same opportunities as the perfect people. So all of a sudden you find yourself in your 30s and you're still walking around being afraid of dropping that la programa instead of el programa because, come on, your ancestors will disown you. But think about it. What's the worst thing that can actually happen? The other person understands you anyway? And if they don't, you spend, what, a few extra seconds explaining yourself? Which, shockingly, no one has ever died from. Even when I'm making my videos, sometimes I'll go back and listen to myself, or when I'm editing, and I'll be like, what did you do there? Did you really use that preposition? You totally skipped subjunctive there. Should I re-record the whole thing now? Meanwhile, no one noticed. Literally no one. Native speakers, they don't care. Most of them are just impressed because you're trying to speak their language. And honestly, they make mistakes too. We all do. In every language. Non-native speakers, well, some of them might secretly celebrate and be like, yeah, I'm not the only one doing this. But again, most of them will relate and understand and be like, yeah, I know what you mean. I've been there too. And they are there. Because here's the thing, mistakes aren't failure. They're a sign that you're actually using the language, that you're trying, that you're doing more than 99.9% people out there. You're communicating, you're being human. We've all been taught to fear imperfection and avoid it at all costs, like it's something contagious or something shameful. But perfection is unnecessary. It's overrated. I would even say lots of times it's toxic. Mistakes are real, they're normal, and they could be fun or even funny at times. When someone says, estoy embarazado, when they're trying to say, I'm embarrassed, did anyone think he was actually pregnant? Probably not. And, even if they did, sometimes, yeah, there could be misunderstandings, but this is where context comes to save the day. Usually you just laugh it off and it becomes a story to tell when you're old. And it doesn't mean you don't even have to try, of course.
If you put zero effort into learning grammar, vocabulary, and all that, you won't get anywhere. Plain and simple. Effort is absolutely necessary.
But the pressure is the unnecessary component that could be avoided. And so learning a language, and more so using it, then going out there using it, becomes more fun and less of an exam type of situation where you absolutely have to be impeccable, cringing in bed at 2 a.m. remembering that situation where you misused a word in front of an entire group of native speakers and embarrassed yourself or whatever. Is not worth it. How many amazing conversations are we missing out on
because we choose to play it safe, giving into a shame that, in moments like this, shouldn't even exist?
So next time you say something like, soy cansado, don't freak out. You're not stupid. You're just speaking, and that's the whole point.